guys, Mike B. Rolling here again. Had a question come up in the comments. A guy was asking me what to look for when buying a trailer. That is a good question. Very good question. Didn't say what type of trailer, so I'll just say, kind of a little bit about them all. In my case, I pull a flatbed. Number one thing on any trailer you're going to look at is the cross members underneath the trailer. Make sure there's no broken welds, cracks, everything's straight and welded and true. Flatbed, you want to look at the floor, look at the deck, and make sure it's not all beat to snot, and the guardrail down the side's not all pounded and beat in. Every square pocket where the rub rail meets the square pocket like that, you want to make sure those welds are good. Then you got the round pegs that the rub rail goes to, and they're going to have welds on those. Make sure all those welds are good. Can be repaired if there's a few broken ones, but just keep in mind, the more beat up the trailer is, the harder a life that trailer's had. And one of the most important things on a flatbed is where the bogies, whether it's a spread or a slidable bogies, not so much, but the 10-foot spreads where the bogies mount to the frame rails. There'll be East does a flat saddle, and then like Rettenauer does a saddle where it cradles the frame like that. Well, you'll get corrosion in there. It's a steel bogie mounting onto an aluminum frame rail. You'll get corrosion in there, and it'll actually start working and pushing the steel apart and stretching the bolts, and eventually it'll break the bolts. Anytime you put steel and aluminum together, you get corrosion. And on these flatbeds, every so many years, I'm not even sure, 6-7 years, something like that, but every so many years you got to basically unbolt it and drop the bogie down and clean up all the corrosion, clean up the metal, paint everything, and put a new almost like a bushing, it's a liner that keeps the metals separate, and bolt it back together. It's a fairly simple process, but it's a couple $1,000s per axle. So that look for that on a flatbed. And then of course your dolly legs, and make sure everything's straight and true, and your kingpin in the front where your truck hooks to it. Make sure all your bolts on your kingpin plate are good, and that pin's not loose, and it's not excessive wear on the pin, which is kind of hard to see because most of them are just slathered in grease and you can't really see. But that's not that big of a repair if you buy a trailer and you can't adjust your fifth wheel tight enough to get all the slop out. Chances are that kingpin there's wore out, and it's just a kingpin and a bolt that goes in there. It's not that big of a deal. Then you go more like your dry vans, dry box, that wooden floor on the inside. Make sure there's no soft spots or evidence of that wood flexing from the forklifts running over it, or patches in the floor. You don't want patches in. If you look at a trailer and it's got a patch in the floor, walk away. Not that it's a bad trailer, but when you get out here and you start doing things, from personal experience, when I had my own authority back in 2014, I went to load a load of bottled water just west of Indianapolis there, big bottled water facility, and they rejected me. They would not load me because it was computerized forklifts that loaded the trucks, and they wouldn't send their equipment in that truck because there was a patch in the floor, and that was their thing. Any patches in the floor, reject the truck. So I keep that in mind. But yeah, your wooden floor, any holes in the walls or the ceiling, you got to look for that. Excessive damage from forklifts beating the shit out of everything in there. You don't want wires hanging down because you got your top clearance lights running down that top rail. You don't want a bunch of wires hanging down, stuff like that. Evidence that people's tampered with a bunch of stuff, rewiring, ripped lights and did a half-ass job of putting them back together, things like that. Then same thing on the underside, all your cross members, make sure there's no cracks or breaks. Everything's straight and true, especially around where the kingpin plate is on either side, truck tires. If they peeled a cap or something and wiped out those cross members underneath. And then on the back of the trailer, same thing. That whole range where your bogies slide, make sure all those cross members are good, because a lot of these companies run recaps and they peel them and it just beats the living daylights out of the underside of that trailer, and it'll make a weak spot on the floor. That's why a lot of the weak spots on the floors tend to happen over the bogies, over the back tires of the trailer, because the cross members are compromised because of a recap. Which, have I said lately, don't buy recaps. Recaps are garbage. Stay the hell away from recaps. Just in case, there you go. Stay the hell away from recaps. They're not not worth the little bit of savings you'll get by buying them up front. They'll more than make up for that when they absolutely destroy your equipment coming apart going down the road. So yeah, recaps. Okay, reefer, pretty much the same as a van. Check your insulation lining to make sure it's not all ripped and torn. And you know, you may have a couple of scuff scratches that they've put tape over. That's fine. But if it goes through there'll be a liner, and then there's all the foam, and then there's the outer wall. But if you got something that went through the liner, foam, and outer wall, yeah, that's a hell of a repair. you might shy away from that, or if it was repaired properly, use that as a negotiating point to get your price down, because that's, you know, that aluminum rail along the bottom of the trailer, that's structural integrity. So, you know, keep that in mind. If you see splices on a dry van or a reefer, if you see splices on that bottom aluminum rail, that's structural integrity. That trailer is not as strong as it used to be, unless it was done properly and, you know, capped on the outside, capped on the inside, welded and riveted. You know, that's typically would be a good repair. But then under rails, the same exact thing as the van. You know, around the kingpin and the bogies, look for cross members to be beaten, tore up, shredded. Your ICC bumpers on all trailers, the ICC bumper in the back, make sure all the welds are good on that bumper and it hasn't been all beat to hell. If it's all bent and, you know, they back into them load locks, and sometimes they forget to unlock them, the driver takes off and wham, you know, just bends that ICC bumper out. That is a major repair, believe it or not, because not just anybody can weld on those ICC bumpers. You have to be specially certified by the Department of Transportation to legally weld a new ICC bumper back on a trailer. So that's not a cheap repair. A legal repair is not cheap. Do with that information what you will. But okay, then you go into tankers. The main thing you want to look for on a tank is tankers have their own set of rules. There'll always be a sticker on the front of the tank that'll show a series of inspections. They got to be inspected every 5 years is their major inspection, and that's where they have to unbolt and drop the fifth wheel plate, clean it and bolt it back up, and they check the thickness of the tank, the metal for corrosion and holes and pits on the inside. As long as your inspections, that big 5 years is the expensive one. The other ones are just, you know, liner tests and things like that, pressure tests, leak tests, you know. But that big 5-year inspection, if that one is coming up close to being due, you want to think about how much you're going to pay for that trailer, because that is an expensive inspection. It pretty much takes all freaking day, if not 2 days, to do that inspection, and they are going to charge you handsomely to do it. So if you're buying a tank and that 5 years getting anywhere close, if you're anywhere within 2 years, I would seriously use that to take at least $3 or $4 grand off the price of the trailer. But then, there's the obvious things: your brakes, your drums, make sure they're good. Brake chambers, simple as grabbing the brake chamber and wiggling it. Is it loose? Is it rusted? Just that's easy maintenance. But that just kind of goes to show you, if someone's selling a piece of equipment, you can grab a brake chamber and wiggle it. They didn't check that trailer out very good. They just cleaned it up, put a little lipstick on a pig, slapped it out on the lot to try to make money on it. If I'm looking to buy something and the guy doesn't tell me, oh yeah, it's, I haven't really looked at it, it's been sitting here for a while, we haven't used it, then I can understand, oh, hey man, there's a brake chamber going to need changed, there's this, there's that. He even admitted as much, that it's been out of service for a while. I'm not sure, I'm just selling it because I don't use it. But then you've got your dealerships that are like, oh yeah, we inspect everything to make sure we sell quality equipment, and then you climb under there and you see, a spider's nest of wires where somebody patched the loom right in front of the tandems because maybe a recap blew and it got into the line and just ripped the wiring out of the trailer. Walk away. Do not get into a wiring issue. That, it could be a simple fix or it could be your worst nightmare. The wiring on these trailers, especially like a Rettenauer flatbed, the way they do their wiring is so complex. I won't buy Rettenauer because of it. I like Rettenauer trailers, don't get me wrong, but I had one that I rented from the company and it had wiring issues, and I went to 3 shops before they finally got it right. And our shop included, my company's shop included, couldn't get it right. I was hitting turn signals and things were flashing in places they shouldn't have been. It is a nightmare. And he explained to me how they got a junction box and switches and relays and way overcomplicated. But so let's see, we did flatbed, van, reefer, tanker. Hopper bottoms, that number one thing you want to look for on hopper bottoms, structural integrity. Crawl up underneath of them. Look at those support beams running to your hoppers. Each one of them hoppers, when you crawl up, and they're wide open underneath, you can see everything. Go back by the bogies and just stand right. You can stand all the way upright inside of a hopper bottom and look at all those cross members for broken welds, bent beams, rust, stuff rusting through. That's going to be your number one thing on a hopper bottom that's going to tell you how much life the trailer has left in it. But of course, like your brakes, drums, brake chambers, that's, across every trailer has the same basic principle there. But hopper bottom, you want to check that main rail going down the bottom, that it hasn't been rubbed and banged and somebody run into it. And, structural integrity is a big thing, man. You don't want them rails messed up. And then underneath, all the supporter beams where the bogies mount to a frame system. And then they've got your hopper coming up, your bogies mount to the support. Then you got all these supports coming down this way and down that way. And each one of those attachment points and the quality of the metal, that's how you check for longevity of the trailer. Is this thing worth putting, X amount of dollars in? How many years do I intend on running this, And then, let's see, bull haulers. Couldn't tell you much about the inside of a bull hauler. I've never, livestock trailer, never pulled one. But, basically most of the same things. Just any trailer you're looking at, all your structural connections, check for broken welds, damage, it's structural integrity. A lot of these flatbeds, when you get a rub rail that's been banged in and they've got the outer rub rail, you can beat the living snot out of them and you're not hurting the integrity of the trailer. Structural integrity of a flatbed is the frame rails. They're typically not going to be run over or hit or damaged in any way. But all other trailers, the structural integrity of the trailer is built into the trailer, like the box and the reefer. Those metal aluminum strip about yay wide that runs all the way down the length of that trailer. That's the structural integrity of the trailer. You damage that beam in that trailer, that's, you see them all the time out here on the road. Broke in half, caught fire, somebody didn't load it correctly. These boxes are not super strong, man. If you do anything to damage the integrity of that rail of that trailer, walk away. Don't buy that. Just walk away. But and then obviously vans and reefers, look for holes. The reefer itself, look at that unit, how many hours is on it. Open up the front unit for the engine of the reefer and just look at cleanliness, how many hours is on it, major oil leaks. A lot of times the companies will have like a sticker on the inside of the door that'll show you service intervals, and you can see, there's regular oil changes, this many hours, that many hours, that many, I like to look for things like that. That shows that people give a shit and they've taken care of that equipment, But if you open up the door and it's filthy in there and there's oil leaks and it's got a ton of hours on it and no indication of any service being done, a lot of people will just write on the oil filter the date and the hours that they changed the oil filter. That's good, but typically when you see they'll have a big size sticker that about once a year they replace it, and it'll have 12 or however many services every couple of years. Then they'll peel that sticker off. Well, they're not only recording it on the door of that trailer, but they're recording it in their company too. So that's generally an indication of pretty good maintenance on those reefers. But don't buy a super high mileage reefer, because those little suckers aren't cheap to overhaul either. That can be quite pricey. But yeah, that's about all I can think of off the top of my head. I'm sure there's things I didn't think of and trailers that I didn't think of, but low boys, removable goosenecks, I don't know that much about them, but same as any other trailer, just look at every point of connection, look for welds and structural integrity damage. But yeah, that should answer your question, I hope. If not, throw something else in the comments and I'll crank out another video. They haven't called me yet. I got probably 2 more trucks in front of me, so any minute they're going to be calling me. But, yeah, hope that answers your question, and you guys keep them questions coming, man. I enjoy doing this. Catch y'all later.